Good morning, and what is up, guys? We are back out here at the POCONOS Playtime Paradise, Day 3, another absolute banger of the day. We got a nice, gentle breeze coming in through here in Pocono Pines. Amazing. So, today we are going to get a first run in the Craft What Are Those Xplor. And I know that's your first question, Craft Xplor. What are those? Well, let me tell you. It is a shoe designed to be a trail shoe, also designed to be able to do some road miles. You might say it's a hybrid type of shoe. You could take it on the roads, you could take it on the trails, you could take it to the grocery store. It's like the Jeep Wrangler of running shoes. If you think you want to go off-road, you got all this stack or rubber, but then for actual running on the streets, you got the stack, and it looks like a streamlined road shoe. So ideally, this should be the best of both worlds. I'm excited to get this on foot. You know, for the first run reviews, I usually have all of the box and we do the opening and all that stuff. Today, I've actually unboxed this a few weeks ago, so we're just going to get into it. Let's do it. Alright guys, so let's get into an overview of the Craft Xplor here. And the reason why I took it out of the box was because it was just sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. And I don't often go to the trails. I haven't reviewed any new trail shoes this year. I have one trail shoe review on my entire channel this year. It's the Norda 001 100-mile review. And it took me about a year to get 100 miles on that thing. It's not like it took me a year because I run in a ton of trail shoes. It's because I don't run trails that often. So this year, I don't think I've hit any trails other than, actually, now that I'm thinking about that, Norda 001 review was last year because I did a Christmas holiday race. So I've run in 0 trail shoes this year. So I do go hiking a lot is the thing. We do go to the mountains a lot. And we do hit different trails with the kids. So I wanted to take this out because it's not a super bulky, technical looking shoe. I thought it would be a good one, a decent one to hike in. It's got a ton of the grip, which is what I look for in a hiking shoe because I hike now with the backpack on my bag with a child inside of it, bro. You talking about rucking? I'm talking about fatherhood. These boys don't even know, man. Yeah, I hike with the kids on my back, so we got to put in some work with the grip, make sure. I don't trust any random shoe out there. I'm not going to pull up in a Nike Pegasus Trail 3 Gore-Tex. The grip on that is trash. I pull up in the Adidas with the Terex Continental rubber, the Norda 001 with the Vibram, and I've started hiking a little bit in this, and it's solid. But as you can see, we haven't gone through any crazy mud yet. The trails have been completely dry the day that I think 2 times that I've hiked in this, which is why it still looks pristine, essentially. There's a little bit of dirt right there, but you can hardly tell. See right there? See, that's my thing with this salmon, vibrant, nice Miami Vice colorway. I'm a little bit worried it's just going to get completely wrecked. But hey, it's a trail shoe. So far, it's been nice and bouncy out there on the trails. It's taken, I think, a little bit of time to soften up and break in. And with the Xplor, this is the sister or brother shoe of the Craft Pacer. I don't have that one with me right now. But if you compare the Pacer and this side by side, they are absolutely identical, and you can see through here, if you see all these little geometric, let's get down here for a sec. All right, take a look at this. These little geometric, what are they, 6-sided, is that a hexagon? I think it's a hexagon, but that is the pattern of the rubber on the Craft Pacer. It's on top of these little hexagons. So they took the exact same midsole of the Pacer and slapped this rugged outsole on it. It's like if I just took Charlie's Grand Cherokee and slapped them some 37 BFG KO2s on there, which I'm actually thinking about doing. Not KO2s, but I really want to put some beefy tires on the mom wagon. I think that would be fire. But that's essentially what they did right here. They took a road shoe, they slapped this outsole on it by Vittoria. I believe this is a bike tire brand. It's some sort of an outdoors brand that makes these rubber outsoles. So it's similar to what Adidas does with Continental or Skechers with, I think it's either Goodyear or Michelin. It's a partnership outsole here to give some good grip. So you'll see here, we do have these massive raised lugs. Let me see if I can brighten this up a few touches for you. Look how raised these lugs are. I think they're 5 millimeters, but I did bring the Clifton out here just because this is a standard running shoe so we could compare. Look at the difference in rubber here. You do not have as big of teeth on a normal everyday running shoe like the Clifton as you have on this guy. So you get full rubber coverage on the bottom with those raised teeth on the outside, and then a nice flat but still hopefully sticky rubber on the bottom. So that's the big draw of the Xplor, is you're getting that more rugged outsole to give you some more off-road capability, but then the midsole here is still a standard running shoe, a standard daily trainer midsole. You can see right here, 38.5 in the front, 32.5 or 38.5 in the back, 32.5 in the front for a 6mm drop. I believe Running Warehouse measures this a little taller, but regardless, it's around 40mm. It's around max stack. Again, let's compare it to the Clifton to see. And they're both pretty tall. And it does feel like a nice cushioned shoe. Also, Clifton is a 5mm drop. You can see they look similar as well. So this is a max cushioned trail/road shoe being sold for $135, and there's no hype around it. I don't know if there's any other reviews on this. Maybe some of the trail channels have started to cover it, but I'm excited to get some miles in because it's just a cool shoe. It's like the Jeep Wrangler of shoes, and I've been wearing it around. I think it looks sick. It's really comfortable. My feet have been hurting a little bit on and off, and this shoe takes the pressure off. The midsole is really nice. I do think it takes a little bit of time to soften up here, and one of the weird things is, because this is the same exact midsole and setup as the Pacer, I thought they would be identical midsoles, and I believe they are. However, this one seems a little bit softer, so I think that's likely just some variation in the manufacturing process. Craft isn't a startup, but they're also not Nike or Adidas, and we do know even the Hokas, Nikes, and Adidases of the world, Nike and Adidas are a lot more established than Hoka. Guys, it's crazy. If you look into revenue numbers of these companies, the gulf between Nike and Adidas versus essentially everyone else is just insane. It's just insane. And the difference is also Nike and Adidas are owned by themselves, public companies, versus Hoka. That's part of Deckers. Saucony, that's part of Wolverine. Craft, I'm not sure. I'm guessing this is a private company they're based out in Sweden. I'm guessing this is a private company, but the difference in firepower between the Nikes and Adidas versus everyone else is just wild. That's why you can find Nike and Adidas shoes for $100, $70 all throughout the year, because they just don't care. They don't make margin they don't need to make margin like everyone else. But back to the topic here. I don't even remember what I was saying. We have the Craft Xplor, the midsole. Yeah, variation in midsoles here. This one does feel a little bit softer than the Pacer. Nice and peppy here, and it is a beaded compound, kind of like that old school Triumph Power Run Plus. Not old school, but the Triumph 20 and 21, which they completely butchered in the Ride 17, and they got away from in the Triumph 22. That's what I was getting out of this, and I do think it's going to need a little bit of break-in, but as I'm pushing it in here, look at this. You can see it's nice and soft. It's not firm, and as I think this is just my prediction, as we put some power into it, it's going to open up more and become really bouncy, because I felt that even on the parts of hiking when I have Reevesy on my back, it feels a little bit softer and squishier because I have more force and more power, versus when I'm just cruising out there walking the trails alone without an extra 35 or whatever pounds on my back. It doesn't compress as much. Of course, those are the laws of physics, but this is a foam that really benefits from a little bit of that extra weight, which I think will come through in faster running. So the ideal use case of this shoe, according to Craft, is gravel pass, light pass. It's supposed to be the gravel bike of shoes. I'm not really familiar with gravel bikes. The David Laney, one of Craft's sponsored athletes, I think he compares it to a Subaru Crosstrek. So again, like that Jeep Wrangler, people buy them because they like the off-road look. Not everyone who has a Jeep Wrangler is crushing the Rubicon Trail and hitting Moab. I'm not doing that with my Jeep Wrangler. Hopefully one day I can do that. I feel like a poser because I'm not. But that's what this shoe is for, right? It should ideally be okay for hitting the streets and hitting the trails. Last thing, upper. Let's get this on foot in a second, but nice and breathable here. Very breathable. This actually made my list, this and the Pacer, for summer running shoes to consider. This made it as a little wild card bonus pick because I haven't actually run in this one. I have run in the Pacer, but really breathable upper here. Basically not even there. The tongue is nice. It's one of the best lightweight but still padded tongues I've seen. Because if you take a look at something like the Clifton here, you can see the padding is just super robust. Versus on the Xplor, you get a little bit of the padding but thin. And by the way, people are going to be, why are you comparing it to the Clifton, bro? They're not in the same category. That's exactly why I'm comparing it to the Clifton. The Clifton is a regular shoe. The Xplor is a funky chunky boy. This is the funky chunky monkey, okay? So I'm trying to pull up with the standard vanilla ice cream, and you compare it to the funky chunky monkey so that people can see how the funky chunky monkey does next to the vanilla bean. Capiche? Capiche. These boys about to get whacked. We got to send out Chucky down to 17th Street and straighten them out. These boys running them out in the comment section more than they run in miles. It's embarrassing. We got to send Paulie D up to the North Shore and let him know. All right, so with that, guys, let's just get this on foot because we are devolving into dad mode, vacation dad mode, pal. Out here looking like a Hawaiian shirt in the Craft Xplor. What are those? So if you're watching this video and you think it's cool that I'm highlighting a shoe that you might not have heard of before from a random brand that is not a multinational conglomerate, let me know. Just drop a comment so I know that this is something you're interested in. I would love to do more stuff like this and highlight shoes that I feel are hidden gems if people find it cool and interesting. And I know everyone wants the Hyperion Max 2 and the Magic Speed 2 and Super Blast 2. I still don't have the same access. I know the numbers are going up, but guys, I still don't have the Deviate Nitro Elite 3. The brands don't send me stuff right away. Not all of them. And Craft did send me these. Shout out to Craft. But I don't always get stuff right away. I don't have the same access as the people who have been in the game, sleeping for however long. We're still grinding. And I want to make sure that I can highlight other brands who I feel are trying to put out good products and who are at a similar stage as I am. So if you guys think this is cool and you want to see more niche brands or shoes that aren't necessarily the most hyped, let me know. Just drop a comment so that I know this is something that I should keep doing. I have other shoes. I brought other shoes here with me that are sexier or trendier, but this is just what I felt like talking about today, and I hope other people will find it cool, because that's the whole point of this channel. I find running in these shoes cool, and this one is kind of a cool one. Alright, so we have the Xplor on our feet. I probably should have got the Clifton on to do a little bit of a side-by-side comparison with the normal shoe, but let's do a walk test. Actually, let's talk through the top before we do a walk test. So there is a lot of room in the forefoot of the upper here. Some of the most room that I have ever had in a 10.5. However, I do not think you should size up unless you have a very narrow foot. I appreciate a little bit more room, especially in a trail shoe like this. It might get water, it might get blah blah blah, your feet might be getting sweaty and sweltery. It's not a bad thing, it's just a little bit baggier up at the top. So it does have kind of that floaty boaty sensation. So if we look at this from the top, this is one of the reasons I want to have the Clifton out here, but oh well, maybe we'll have to do it after. You can see we do have a wide base on the Pacer here. So that's one of the things, again, that's going to give us that off-road tire, that Falcon Wild Peak, just gripping the ground vibe, because we do have such this wide base. We can crush and cruise down those gravel paths. We're not going to be twisting and twirling on our ankles, theoretically. That's the idea. Let's see if I can get a little shot from the back here so you can get a width test against the Clifton. Yeah, so you can see the Xplor. What are those? Are roughly the same width as the Clifton, which is a pretty wide shoe designed to give some of that stability. So let's do a little walk test here. And I have walked in these, as I mentioned, a few times. I've done some hikes in them. So here's the thing about the shoe, and this is something that I've been highlighting recently. When we think about step and feel, there's three main elements that are going to influence step and feel. The first is the insole, the second is the midsole foam, and the third, the upper. I don't know why I counted like that. Got him. Oh. You don't got him me. If you got him me, I send you down to Vinny D at 17th Street. Apparently, guys, This house, I guess, was owned, my sister told me, some New Jersey mayor owned this house before they bought it. You think that's how he talked? We're going to send Paulie up to Newark. We got to send Max down to Bergen, straighten him out. Bergen County. You ever been to the Atlantic Ocean on a hot July afternoon? You try to come up here in your mom wagon without seeing the patriarch? So insole, not the softest in here. And that is one of the things I've noticed with these craft shoes. Because they are on the more affordable side, it seems like a lot of the investment in the technology right now is going into the midsole. That's what they're focusing on, the midsole compound. That's going to be the star of the show here. And then on this one, we have the outsole. But the insole, not the best. Not the best. It's not giving me that super soft, squishy feel. Upper, as we talked about, we have a little bit more room. So I actually like that for walking and hiking. And then the snugness of the tongue and everything is great around the back. I do get a nice secure fit here. There is a little bit of a structured piece. And the midsole foam it's good. It's good. I like the feeling. I really like the feeling of walking on top of this. And it does have a nice little rolling rock up at the front, which it doesn't necessarily put me on my toes because that 6mm drop. But as we're walking here, it tips me forward, and it's a really easy shoe to walk in. So I did the Craft Pacer first run review a few months ago, and I've been using that shoe for walking as well. So 2 great shoes so far. Let's see how it stacks up, though. We got to get some miles in it. So plan for this run. We've just been in recovery mode, so another chill, 5, 6, 7, 8 miler. I guess 5 to 8 miles. That will be the goal today. I have had no mileage goals this week. It has been so refreshing, but I do want to go crush that gravel path that we did yesterday. That's what inspired me to take these out, because I wasn't even planning on running in the Xplor for this vacation. I brought them mainly so I could hike in them, but after crushing that gravel path yesterday in the Ghost Max, I was thinking this is the perfect terrain to test out the Xplor. So I think we'll try to get a few miles down in the neighborhood here. There was a really beautiful golf cart path right behind the house, so let's hit that and then maybe go crush Guy Top Road again up that hill, and then we can go do the gravel path and see how these do around the lake, get some nice lake views, and man, it's gonna be a nice morning. Let's do it, man. Poconos, baby, Poconos. Somebody said I said Poconos too much. Poconos you, bro. Poconos. You come up to the Poconos, you better respect the patriarch. Vinny D will show you what the real Poconos is about. Off-road, bro. That is exactly what we're running in right now. A Chevrolet Traverse off-road package. That's what this shoe is. It's a crossover, beefed up, designed to make us feel like we're rugged explorers. The craft designers, if they're watching this out in Sweden, are so triggered. I just compared their beautiful product to a Chevrolet. Oh man, I think I see some gang activity going on down there. You guys see that? So yeah, there's a few types of shoes, or few shoes from mainstream brands that fit into this category. So Asics Nova Blast 4 TR, the Nike Pegasus Trail, that's a shoe that I've run in a lot. And I used to actually, oh man, this is a downhill. I'm just completely flying.
I used to run in the Pegasus Trail 3 on the roads too. And so far, so the main question with running on this on the roads is how will the little nubs feel, or the lugs? It doesn't feel too heavy. It doesn't feel too clunky. It is a little bit of a heavier shoe with the lugs, with the off-road outsole. I didn't get this on the scale, so I'll have to pull up the weight for you guys. I'm assuming it's probably in the 320 to 340 range for my size, but it doesn't feel bulky or heavy. And if you live in a wet or muddy place, or you're cruising gravel paths a lot, that's where the additional benefit of this type of an outsole will help, because you might also get some additional durability and life from the foam, because those gravel paths can really chew up the rubber and expose foam on the bottom of a shoe, even a shoe like the Brooks Goes Max, which we were running in yesterday. We're out here in the Poconos. What do you expect me to say? So the Craft Pacer would go in the same category as Hoka Mach 6, Rebel V4, except you are getting a little bit more stack. And so with this having the same midsole, it is giving me a little nice peppy ride here. Initial overreaction, this is a solid do-it-all shoe. Maybe even could be great shoe, let's see. I do think that this is one of these shoes though that if we're made from by a bigger brand, it would be in the conversation. Man, the problem with hills is that once you go down them, you gotta go up. All right, I'll see you on the other side of this up. We're gonna get some elevation gain today. Look at me, I'm a rugged explorer. Amerigo Vespucci, who? Lewis and Clark? I never heard of them. I'm here like I'm Daniel Boone. I'm trying to pull up and what the heck is that? They don't even know where to find this drip. Can't buy these at REI, bro. Can't just walk into a Dick's Sporting Goods and come out with the Craft Xplor. You can buy them on Running Warehouse though. Use my link, please. Man, going down that golf cart path absolutely crushed me. It was like probably 100 feet straight elevation gain, and we're still going. Still going. I didn't realize I was gonna get such a workout this morning. Huh. Well, look, there we go. Views of the Poconos, baby. Bang. That's Skytop Road right there. We're gonna do one last little hill on the, what is this called? Asphalt. And then we're gonna bang down to the lake path, which is gravel. But so far, I don't know if my watch is not beeping at me today, but I missed it. We're at about 1.5 miles. And midsole is nice. And the geometry is nice. A smooth roll. A lot better than the Ride 17 and Triumph 22, which also have those beaded compounds. Again, if this shoe or the Pacer were from one of the bigger brands, it would have more hype. So I'm gonna do my part to highlight these shoes that I feel deserve more attention. So the midsole on this is great so far. It's really the outsole that's a little bit weird. Let's go down to these rocks, do some exploring. But on the street, it does have that feeling like I'm landing on top of a little extra something that I don't need. Because on dry asphalt like this, and hey, there's our traverse, we don't get any additional benefit from these lugs. And I said this last time we did this, but this hill is a lot bigger than it looks. Yeah, man, this midsole, comfortable and fast. Comfortable and fast. We might need to rip some strides or just a little bit of pacage down by the lake. Down by the lake, where the watermelons grow. I do my own, I do not know. What if I do? I don't know, say. Have you ever seen a man on a chair down by the lake? Man, I feel like I'm about to blow out my ACL down this hill. Oh my goodness. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. Pocono Pines, Pennsylvania. Dirt road. Craft Xplor. Banging some miles on the gravel. Let's do it. Pinecrest Drive. All right, ready guys? 3, 2, 1. So this is what the shoe is designed to do. Some light pads, not necessarily a ton of technical terrain and muck, but a little bit more than the road. So this is where those lugs, that additional rubber is gonna come through clutch, gripping that ground, throwing over those rocks. And that wide base is giving me a lot of confidence to just pop some pace here. Oh, another hill. I don't know what it is, but these hills are crushing me today. I'll see you guys on the other side of this one, somewhere down there. So here's the biggest difference between this and a road shoe. Whereas a road shoe, like the Ghost Max, which I had out here yesterday, would lose a little bit of traction every time your foot hits the ground. You're not gonna be able to direct all that energy forward. Think about what a carbon fiber plate does, right? It ensures that with a super soft shoe, you don't lose as much energy side to side and have as much of that squishy squiggliness. That's the same thing that happens out here. With a road shoe, when our foot hits the ground, we get some lateral movement, we get some forward and back movement. The rubber isn't gonna grip the ground as well because of these loose rocks. With this shoe, every time I land, the rubber outsole is not going anywhere, bro. That's planted. So instead of losing my energy side to side and feeling like my ankle or my foot is twisting or turning, I pop right back up. The rubber does a great job stabilizing, same way as a carbon fiber plate does, and then the midsole does the rest. So what this shoe does on a path like this, it makes me feel like I'm running in the Mach 6 on the road. It equalizes the feeling of the ground with the rubber and makes it essentially like running on a flat surface. It's pretty cool. And because we have all the foam here, this gigantic midsole, I do get a ton of bounce and pop. I saw some bunnies over here, but I think they might have eluded us once again. I'll keep my eyes peeled though. Oh, that was a mouse with some fly friends. Christmas in June. So my initial impression of the Craft Pacer, the road counterpart to this, was that it was not super soft. And I still stand by that. This is not super soft. It's not even as soft probably as the Ghost Max, which we were running in yesterday. But it is nice and bouncy. And the more force I'm putting into it, as I hypothesized before we got out here, and as I learned, that's the thing, you can hypothesize, then you gotta learn. A lot of boys out here, they just straight hypothesizing, never learning. That's the issue. But as I hypothesized and then learned, as I put more force into the shoe, whether that's through having Reevesy boy on my back or trying to run a little bit faster downhill down this path, the foam opens up a little bit and feels a tad bit softer. But yeah, a little bit more about the bounce than the softness. I do wonder, I hypothesize, yeah, I wonder if this will take some breaking. And I think this one is already a little bit broken in because I have done multiple 2 to 3 hour hikes with Reevesy on my back. I wonder if it'll break in even further. Same thing with the Craft Pacer, but the thing is, I have worn that shoe a lot, the Pacer, casually, and it hasn't softened up a ton. So I don't know, maybe this is just what we'll get. But much better than the Saucony foams, I can tell you that. Oh, that's a bunny. You guys see that? Did you guys see that? Went somewhere in there. All right, we're about to round this bend to the lake though, so let's get some nice lake action and then maybe bang Tamake. Is that Tamake or Tamake? Shout out to the Lenape people. I think let's bang Tamake Lake Road after this. Let's go this way. Do 1 or 2 quick pace pickups on this flat on the way back. All right, there's a little turnaround point up here. So let's hit that, and then I'm gonna open up maybe 2 10 to 20 second strides. See how this foam responds out here on the gravel, or no, not gravel, asphalt. Morning. Cornering is actually pretty good in these. I think it's because they have such a wide platform. It does feel pretty nimble. She was pulling up in those John the Apostles. Out here looking like Cicero. All right, ready? Let's get one little stride here. See how these do with some pace. All right, so that was 5:47 pace. I almost feel like the rubber is gripping the ground too much on this stride, as in my foot is hitting the ground and then I have to fight over the traction to roll through. So a little bit weird for running fast on the road, but it might be better on the gravel. But let's do one more of these guys. All right, just to that 7th rock, you see it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 5:44, 13 seconds. Not trying to do anything too crazy. Hey. Yeah, this midsole is peppy. Though if you are looking for a speed shoe, or even just a primarily road running shoe, I would not go for this. I would go for the Pacer. This does feel more at home out here on the gravel. Let me try to rip one stride out here. I'm a little bit nervous, but let's try it. Last one here, let's go. Yeah, I mean, this is where the benefit of that, yeah. So that was a 5:30 pace, just a little 15 seconds, but that's where the benefit of the outsole really comes into play. As we were chatting about last mile, it's that stability, which is allowing me to put all my energy down and just have it directed forwards versus getting lost with any slippage. And the way that this foam is tuned super nice for this gravel path. This is where it's best, because anything too soft out on the trails, personally, I find it can have some stability issues, especially if you're going to go with a slightly taller stack than this. So this is probably on the firmer side of soft. Still is soft. Again, my test for soft is if you gave the shoe to someone who'd been walking all day in a pair of Air Force Ones, would they say it was soft or firm? This shoe is soft. A shoe like the Saucony Endorphin Shift 3 or Brooks Hyperion Max, if you're pulling up in the Air Force Ones, you're still gonna say those shoes are firm. Hey, deer. But let's rip one more for good measure. I always like getting 4 strides, so let's do a little last one here. Yeah, that was a 5:05 pace. Man, it is just so grippy, so grippy. If you want to grip and rip on some gravel, these are fire. Because the Boston 12, that is, and the Adidas, those are grippy for the wet, but they don't have the teeth. The teeth on these are allowing me to just crush pace, absolutely crush pace. The only problem is, I don't know why, but down here, I guess by the lake, way buggier. So we might need to turn around, because I'm getting mobbed. It's a summer wonderland out here. But yeah, I'm getting murked. Let's see how many we have. Yeah, we have about 5 miles, so we can turn around, pop back up to the Poconos Playtime Paradise. See if we can crest this little hill here. See if there's anything interesting on the other side, and then we can pop back around. Wish I had a shirt on. It's like a feeding frenzy out here. But alright. Nothing interesting, but I do think this might loop around. Yeah, this is just a dump. Maybe that's why there's all the flies. But I think Onondaga Road loops around, so we can just pop this back up, straight uphill again. See you at the top. It's getting a little gnarly down here with the crushed gravel, and it's turning into some bigger rocks. And the shoe is crushing it. This outsole is fire. And this hill is big. I wonder how many feet we're gonna get today, elevation gain. On the main dirt road here. Came out right there. And boy, I'm getting mollywopped by these flies today. This is not fun. You come up to Trenton, poking your nose in my business, Vinny D will send you up to the Poconos. Alright, we're back out here on the main road. I'm not going to chase any mileage today. We're at 5.9. I'm just going to cruise home. Cruising. This elevation is absurd. The My legs are toast. So yeah, we're back out here on the main road, probably half a mile from home. And the additional rubber, it is a little bit of a hindrance on the road. I would not prefer running in this on the road. If I were doing an only road run, I would 100% pick a different shoe, like the Ghost Max or whatever my daily trainer was. Now the question comes in, if you're doing a mix of road and a little bit of trail, what type of shoe do you go for? And that's the beauty of choice. All the choices we have on the market now, it's going to come down to personal preference, because you can do some trails in a more built up daily trainer, and then shoes like this exist, which are just awesome for the gravel paths. Right, I'm feeling it this morning, man. I don't know if it's the elevation gain or cutting my mileage from being on vacation. This run crushed me. See you guys at home. Oh, I see a lot of red flags over there. YG must be in town. Is that Dwayne Carter? It's a lot of red flags. Looks like Bompton out here. I think I see somebody over there booling with their slimes. Oh, wow. It's a BMW. Emphasis on the B. So I lied. I felt like I was getting soft. So we're chasing some mileage today. We're going to go to 8. I popped down to the street. Now I'm just going to cruise back up to the house to get 8. Hey, pull up in the Cadillac. U.S. Marine Corps. More like U.S. Marine Borps. All right, guys, we're back at the Playtime Paradise. And we got, let's see, exactly 8 miles. The flies are out here. 8:04 pace. We had hills, we had flies, we had heat. It is hot. This is the first day that it's hot up here in the Poconos. Johnny Salamucci's poking his nose into my business. I'm going to send him up to the Poconos. So yeah, about an hour and 4 minutes in the Craft Xplor. What are those? Drop a bomb on the Craft Xplor, baby. So if you buy this shoe specifically for the roads, because you want something like the Nova Blast 4 TR or the Nike Pegasus Trail 3, I'm not sure you're going to be too pleased. But if you buy the shoe for the specialized job that it's built to do, but I'm not a rapper, I think you're going to be super happy, man. This is a great shoe for crushing some pace on the gravel. We were throwing down some strides at 5:05, 5:30, 5:20 on the gravel, and it felt great. Cruising up that hill, it felt great. Man, Craft Xplor, this thing is a beast for what it is meant to do. Let's get some water and let's do this breakdown. I have to find a new place every day. Every day it's a new place for the breakdown so far. Yesterday I found a great location on top of the CRV. Those mid-size crossovers or compact crossovers, those are the perfect size for me to put the camera on top of my height and everything. Now I gotta find a new place to do the breakdown. Out here in the Poconos, poking nose into my business. You're gonna get whacked. You send the boy Sylvester down to the pawn shop down at the Poconos. You mess with me in the Garden State, I'll send you up in the Poconos with the snakes. You ever seen a real patriarch do some dirt up in the Poconos? I'll show you a real cozy cabin out there in the Poconos. You want to take a vacation? I'll send you out there to the Crescent Lake. That's a real vacation out there in the Poconos. Come around here, poke your nose into my business in the Garden State. This boy's getting disrespectful. These boys have more shoes. These boys have more shoes than miles. This is getting disrespectful. They're too busy trying to shake hands with Asics. They need to start running some paces. These boys too busy with the PR. They need to be more worried about their PRs, if you know what I mean. I'm talking personal records, and they're talking public relations. It's getting disrespectful. That's why we have to send them up here to the POCONOS. Out here in the backyard of the POCONOS, this is where the real deals get cut. This is where the real men get made. The Craft Xplor breakdown, we have to do it in the patriarch room. This is where the bosses come. You trying to poke your nose into my business? Are you trying to poke your nose into my business? Turn him on his side like a 48-ounce Nalgene. Trying to poke his nose into my business. Alright guys, 8 miles. We fought for every last inch, yard, foot, centimeter, millimeter of those 8 miles today. Lots of elevation, lots of hills, also lots of gravel, which is what this thing is an absolute beast at. This is one of the best shoes I've tried for doing a specific job. And that's the beauty of the running shoe market right now. There's lots of shoes, and with how many options we have, you can pick one shoe for every run out there and have that shoe be the perfect shoe for the run. Today, this was the perfect shoe for the run today because we crushed some strides down there on the gravel. So what the shoe is designed to do is to be a hybrid road trail shoe, and it absolutely knocks it out of the park, specifically for the trail leaning side of that equation. If we're thinking about the category that this is in, it's Nike Pegasus Trail, Asics Nova Blast 4 Trail. There's a few other shoes out there, daily trainers, that are designed to have a little bit more beefed up outsoles. The Ride Trail is another one. They're not necessarily designed for crushing pace or crushing terrain out in Moab or the Western States 100. I don't know. I don't know all the names of these trails. It's not designed. For example, if I were going up to Brevard in the pouring rain, Brevard, North Carolina, in the pouring rain, lots of mud, lots of roots and rocks, I likely wouldn't choose the shoe. I would probably choose the Norda 001. A little bit more connected, a little bit of a flatter, lower drop profile in that shoe. But for some dry terrain today, and for some speed, and for a course where I knew there weren't going to be a ton of rocks, a ton of obstacles, this was awesome. If you live in an area where you have to go off-road a lot, but you still want a faster shoe for some marathon pace training or just for throwing down some interval workouts, this would be a really fun shoe. And the benefit of the shoe isn't just the outsole. So you can see here, let's just zoom in on this beauty again. I love a good outsole. We have tons of rubber coverage from the front to the back. There's almost no areas of exposed foam. And then we have these little, or not even little, these gigantic sections here where you have the nubs popping out. It's a beautiful thing. Craft did a really nice job with the outsole from the front to the back. But the other benefit is that the platform is super wide. And by the way, I realized I said I was going to do the breakdown in the Mob Boss room, but it was too dark. So we came out here to nature in the Poconos. But it's really wide, so fantastic stability. I never felt unsure of my footing, even going up that giant hill by the dump there. There was lots of, not necessarily roots, but rutted out areas. It's almost like it used to be paved, and then they filled it in with crushed rocks, and it was a little bit gnarly down there. You definitely had to have four-wheel drive if it were raining. So for that type of a path, this thing is great because of the grip and the traction, and then the width. It made it feel like I didn't have to watch my step no matter where I was going. I could just mash. So that makes this shoe great for picking up the pace on some off-road terrain. Now, downsides of the shoe here. Because you have this super thick layer of rubber, and look how thick it is. Again, it's almost 5 to 10 millimeters up from the bottom to where the top of it is. Because you have such a wide layer, it almost feels like landing on top of a dual foam platform where the bottom is just a hard layer of EVA. So that's the effect you get out there on the roads. The bottom isn't going to give you that much extra. If anything, it's detracting a little bit from the ride experience out there on the road. I wouldn't love to take this on a strict road run. At least if there were more than an hour worth of road on my run combined with trail, I would likely choose a road shoe, even the Craft Pacer over this, or something like the Nike Vomero, a road shoe that has a built-up outsole. So this is definitely more of that specialized trail shoe. There's so many great options out there for the roads that
I wouldn't choose this just for the roads, but they do have the Craft Pacer counterpart to this. So that's the main downside just out there on the roads. On the trails, I didn't have any real downsides to the shoe. The midsole comes alive when putting down some force. I think it will break in a little bit more. One thing I am a little bit worried about though is, can you see? Yeah, right around here. It looks like we might have nicked a rock or something and it's chipping a little bit. So I'm wondering how the durability is gonna be on this midsole. Let's take a look, see if we can find. Yeah, and this is something I saw even before we got started today. I'm guessing this is from one of the hikes I did. A rock might have chewed up this little rubber here. So I'm wondering if this midsole is gonna see some wear and tear from the trails. I know one thing that Nike does in the Ultrafly is they wrap the PIBA, because PIBA is a super soft foam. They wrap that ZoomX in some sort of a vinyl, or I'm not exactly sure what the material is. If you're watching and you know, let me know. But this is exposed foam on the outside here, so it might get a little bit nicked and chewed up. I have a hard time believing though that it would completely degrade by the 300 or 400 mile lifespan of the shoe, and I do think this is going to be a durable shoe given this beaded foam. These beaded foams that have a little bit of a denser feel like this, so the Ultra Boost, the Saucony Power Run Plus, they tend to be very durable. I have not tested this one specifically, and I don't believe it's a TPU. You know, I don't love to get into all the acronyms and everything. Don't get into the acronyms. Don't come at me with the acronyms unless you know exactly the meaning behind them. That's the thing with the acronyms. Don't use acronyms. Don't throw around technology names unless you know what the differences are between them. So that's why I don't get into it. I do know this is a little bit of a different compound, and what that does mean is it's going to perform age a little bit differently than the Ultra Boost and the Power Run Plus, but it feels very similar underfoot and just in my hands to the Ultra Boost and the Power Run Plus. So if you run either of those foams, this might be just a tiny bit peppier, maybe a tiny bit softer than the Ultra Boost. I don't think it's softer than the Power Run Plus, but that should give us some idea of durability. I got 700 miles out of my Ultra Boost and 350 miles out of the Power Run Plus. I think this could go up to 350, 400 miles. I haven't seen a ton of reviews on the forums yet of the Craft Pacer, so hopefully I can get the good word out about these shoes because they are great shoes. So last thing, upper, I did want to mention the lightweight material again, just in case somebody skipped it. This is an awesome shoe for the summer. It is super lightweight up here. You can see, look at this. Very, very breathable in the front. And then down the back here, it is locked in, baby. Absolutely locked in. Can you hear that? Knock, knock, knock. And I think there's a woodpecker up there too. Or a branch is about to break and fall on their house. That honestly doesn't sound too good. When we were back in Mint Hill a few weeks ago, the mayor lives across the street. A branch from his tree, we were standing there, me, Mace, Charlotte, all the kids. All of a sudden, it just, a massive branch. It was probably a few hundred pounds. They had to get a tree removal service the next day, but we saw it slowly splinter off from the tree. It sounded like a crack of thunder and smashed to the ground. Mace was a little bit shook, but it was probably one of the coolest things I've seen. So yeah, I think I'm gonna need to finish this breakdown before one of these trees fall on me. But overall, a solid shoe, a solid tool for the job. Let's answer those 3 questions that you know I love to ask every single time we review one of these shoes. So how does it compare to its or how does it live up to its intended purpose? How does it compare to everything else in the category? How does it compare to everything else on the market? So intended purpose, absolute beast. It does very well with gravel, light trails, being a speed-oriented shoe, that road trail combination. Though I do have to say, a little bit better on the trails than the road. I wouldn't love to do an exclusive road run in this, which then goes to how does it do versus everything else in the category. So if you want a hybrid road trail shoe and are doing mostly roads, I probably would not go for this, no matter how great the midsole is. I would go for either a road shoe with a more built-up outsole, like a Puma Deviate Nitro 2 or Nike Vomero, or I'd go for one of those Asics Nova Blast 4 TR, Nimbus TR, though that's probably a little bit too soft and squishy for my liking for the trails. Even something like a Norda 001, that's okay. Any trail shoe with not the most robust outsole. This outsole is pretty beefy. It is a beefy outsole. So versus other shoes in its category, midsole is awesome. One of the peppiest trail shoes that I've tried. I've only tried a handful of trail shoes, but very peppy trail shoe and very peppy in general compared to all the other daily trainers out there. And now this is making me want to do a head-to-head with the Craft Pacer and the Mach 6 and SL2 to see how that shoe stacks up on the roads. That'll be a fun one. We'll have to do that once we're back down at the office in Mint Hill. So last question here, how does it do versus everything else on the market? So when thinking about this question, I like to talk about price. $135, great value here. Both this and the Craft Pacer undercut the market by a few bucks. So if you are looking for a new trail shoe, something that can be good for walking, good for hiking, this guy is a great value this summer. That's why I love this shoe. This is my favorite trail shoe now over the Norda 001 because it looks good, it feels good, it's super comfortable for walking. That's where you are gonna get some additional value out of this shoe versus some of the other traditional trail shoes. Because you get some of the cushion back here and this outsole, I'm super confident taking this on a hike. I could even take this as my one shoe if I needed to on a trip where I was doing a lot of walking and hiking. So great shoe for walking, comfortable shoe. Ideal use cases for fast miles out on some light trails, but it can do some other stuff here and there. So Craft Xplor, what are those? Hopefully we answered that question. This is a pretty fun trail shoe from a brand that's on the rise. Hopefully they're on the rise. I think they're probably just gonna stay a niche brand, but nevertheless a brand that doesn't have a ton of cachet in the space. So with that, guys, I have a call in 15 minutes. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. You come up to the Poconos talking about the Craft Xplor, I'll send you on an exploration. Let's get out of here.